How's it smell, baby dog? How does it smell? Does it smell good? Do you want to smell?
She's like, oh no.
No thanks, Mom.
Hey y'all, it's Biz. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a beer inspired by Elk Valley. It's their cucumber Saison, and it is delicious. And we have a ton of cucumbers again this week. This is just a few of them. We have 15 total. So we're going to be including these in our secondary of this beer. For our grain bill, we kept it pretty simple. We didn't know what Elk Valley's Saison grain bill or hop bill were, right? So we're just kind of making this up. So we went ahead and I picked out 7 pounds of American Pilsner, 1 pound of Flaked Oats, and 1 pound of Flaked Wheat. And we're also going to be adding in corn sugar, 1 pound of this as well, towards the end at flame out. We have 1 ounce of Perle hop here. And we also have, for our yeast, we have WLP 590, which is a French Saison ale from White Labs. So we already have our water, 4 gallons, up to temperature. So we're going to be adding in the grains. Okay, so we're going to add in all of our grains right now. I have my assistant JJ helping me stir. It smells like oatmeal.
It does.
Ugh. It's sending me flashbacks of getting sick. As a kid, my mom would always make it whenever we were sick. To try and make better use of the grains, I like to mill them twice. You don't have to do this, but it's just a preferred step for me. Okay, so now that it's been 15 minutes, we're gonna stir again. Here we go. Remember to do this about 4 times, so every 10 to 15 minutes. And we're gonna just go ahead and check the temperature now. Uh-oh, that's a little low. Oh, I guess it's fine.
Could be a degree or 2 hotter.
Yeah. We can add on a little bit of heat. There we go. Okay. So we finished our mashing, and now we're going to move on to our sparge. So the grain soaked up about 1 gallon of that water, so we're going to be adding in about 4 more gallons. Again, we just prefer to not heat up the water since we don't have a good method for pouring this in as of right now. Eventually we'll probably get something to sparge with later and heat up that water. So just try and go as slowly as you can, sparge as slowly as you can, try to get all the sugars out of our grains. So there's not very many grains in this one, so it'll be pretty easy to sparge. Okay, so now that we've finished sparging our grains with our reverse osmosis water, we're going to be adding in 1.5 teaspoons of gypsum and 0.75 teaspoons of our calcium chloride. So this is not really meant for adjusting the pH. This is just meant for changing the flavor. We think it'll help enhance it. Okay, so now that we finished adding that in, we're gonna heat this up and stir it on in, all the gypsum and calcium chloride. So we're gonna get it to go up to a boil now. And we're just gonna stir this on in. Okay, so now that we finally hit a boil, I'm gonna add our Firmicap. So 2 drops per gallon, right? So we're gonna do 14-ish. Okay. And we're gonna do 1/2 ounce of our Perle hops right now for the 60-minute. And we'll be adding in the other half of that when we hit our 15-minute and add our Warflock at that time. And then make sure it submerges into the water. Okay, so we've hit the 15-minute mark, so we're gonna add the last half of our Perle hops into our bag here. And we're also gonna be adding in our Warflock. We don't need to add it since it's a Belgian style, but we're going to add it anyway. And that's simply because the Elk Valley one that we're, Cucumber Saison that we're kind of getting our inspiration from was fairly clear. Okay, so now that we've killed our boil, we're going to be adding in our corn sugar. It helps to make this a little bit more dry and increase the gravity. So we're gonna go ahead and pour this in. Okay, so now that we've finished our boil and we've added in our corn sugar, we are cooling everything off. Again, we always use our reusable ice packs and our cooling coils. And so it goes through here, chills it all the way through, and it runs out into the garden. And so currently watering our boxwood, and it'll eventually water some of the plants in the yard. So, all right. Okay, so we have finished cooling our wort, and we're gonna now transfer it into our SS Brewtech. Our tilt is telling us that we're at 1.53 and it is 73 degrees. So that is awesome since it is the beginning of August, and normally now it would be way more hot. So kind of excited that it is not quite as hot right now. Alright, so now that we've finished transferring our wort into our SS Brewtech, we're going to be pitching our French Saison yeast. So here we go. I'm actually surprised by how dark this is. I wouldn't expect this yeast packet to have been so dark, but it is what it is. And as per usual, we took our hydrometer reading before pitching our yeast into our wort. Okay guys, so we've hit a week since we brewed our beer. We have gotten our gravity down to 1.005. So it is time to now add in our secondary, and we're gonna be doing cucumbers because we said this is a cucumber Saison. So we've already been peeling some of them. We currently have, from this past week, we got another, well, more than this because we've already also eaten some. But we've already washed these, and now so we're gonna peel them off because we don't want the rind on this, right? And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking this and we're gonna be putting it in our food saver, and we're gonna do a double freeze on this. So the double freeze is so that you can get those cell walls to really get distressed and broken so that we can pull out all the flavors out of these cucumbers. And we also will, after that, put them in some vodka for some sanitization, and then we're gonna drop them in to our SS Brewtech for a secondary fermentation. So let's get into it. Okay, so now that we finished peeling and slicing and cutting our cucumbers, we just did little like slicer, little, you know, finger kind of guys. And don't forget to compost all of your waste. And so we're gonna just kind of eyeball adding in this vodka. Not really sure how much we're gonna add, but not too much because this doesn't really have like a setting for like just like completely wet. It has like a moist setting, right? So we don't want to have this soaked, but it's alcohol, it'll be fine, right? So here we go. Is that like okay? More?
Sure, I don't know. Quarter to half a bottle.
Okay.
That was my guess. I don't know where you're at.
Let's see. We are at not quite a quarter yet. Cassie's watching us on the couch. Hello, what are you doing? About a quarter. More? Less?
That looks good. Here.
Okay.
I might have a hard time selling it. We'll see.
Okay. We'll
To
find
keep
out.
the vodka from,
escaping.
yeah.
I think so far. Boom! Time to put this bad boy in the freezer. Let's just double check though, just in case, right? I should have probably done that over the sink. But I trusted it too much. That's what you get for trusting technology, right? Freezer time! Okay, so now that we've got the cucumbers started to freeze in the freezer, we're going to pull them out tomorrow and we will thaw them and then we'll stick them back in the freezer, and then after they're frozen again, after several hours or more, however long it takes, we'll then take that out and stick it in the beer. Alright you guys, it has been a week and 2 days since we brewed up this beer. We have the cucumbers now. They have been frozen, then de-thawed, then frozen and de-thawed again, and now they're almost de-thawed again from their last freezing. So we're gonna go ahead and stick these in here. Our goal is to let this sit for a week. Oh, that smells really good. Uh-oh. It's splashing around everywhere. Oh me, oh my. 12 cucumbers. Here we come.
All right, you guys, it's been about a day since we threw the cucumbers into the brew bucket. And I don't know if you'll get to see one right here, but we got a little bit of a secondary reaction from the cucumbers. It was 1.003 when we put it in, and the bubbles had stopped, so...
How's it smell, baby dog? How does it smell? Does it smell good? Do you want to smell?
She's like, oh no.
No thanks, Mom.
So yeah, we'll let you know how it goes. I'll see you back at kegging day.
Hey you guys, so this beer has finished fermenting out. It is down to 0.992. So that is way more alcoholic than we were anticipating. So hopefully when we do our tasting notes, it's not going to be super crazy alcoholic tasting, but it might be because that puts us right around 7.8 as our ABV. So we'll see. It's definitely not going to be as, you know, non-alcoholic tasting as Elk Valley's, but that's okay, you know. So we'll just have our own, and hopefully this tastes pretty good. So we're just transferring now from our SS Brew Tech into our keg. We are not doing a fully closed loop system because there was only 1 ounce of hops in here, so there wasn't a whole lot. We only used that 1 ounce of Perle, right? So we purged the keg already with CO2, and now we're transferring out the beer into the keg. Okay, so now for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, we're going to be rocking the keg to get the CO2 into the beer faster. Woo! Okay, you guys, it's tasting notes day. So, as you remember, we made a cucumber Saison based on sort of ish, or I should say inspired by, right, Elk Valley's Cucumber Saison, which is a local beer to here. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of do a compare and contrast. Obviously, they're gonna not be the same, and that is a-okay. We used fresh cucumbers from our garden, and so we have a few more here. They're kind of starting to slow down a little bit, but we still have a number, and we've been making a lot of pickles, so that's been awesome to eat those and share with friends. So I've been enjoying that for sure. Puppies have been brewing with us today. We've been doing another brew day today. That's been really fun. Ours is on this tap. Alright. So I feel like the head retention was a little different. Ours is a little bit more foamy, kind of white in color, versus this was, I don't know if you, it's kind of gone now, but it was a little bit more light in color, so that's kind of interesting. We think that the head retention that we got on this was due to the Flaked Oats and Flaked Wheat that we used. Not really sure if Elk Valley used any in theirs, but they may have, but potentially not. So yeah, cool. I feel like
the one on camera, the one on the left looks a little bit different,
yeah,
but in person they look pretty close.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy. Yeah, because I feel like this one almost looks a little bit more orange
on the left,
slightly on the left, which is the Elk Valley one. But that could just be because we don't have this one filled up all the way, maybe. So we'll just add a little bit more. So we got the same cup.
Yeah, that could just be lighting. Now it's just...
Yeah, now it looks, yeah. So I feel like they look really similar, which is interesting. Because we have no idea what they used. That's cool though. So let's go ahead and smell them. They both smell like cucumbers for sure. Our variety of cucumbers that we've been growing is a Japanese variety, so I don't know if that really makes that much of a difference, but it's just kind of an interesting little thing to think about when you're comparing. Ours might be a little bit more stronger on the alcoholic smell of the cucumber side. Ours is nearly double their alcohol content, so that is probably why. And Cassie is getting some water.
Cassie girl.
Yeah.
Cassie girl.
So now I'm gonna go ahead and try them. Yep, it's very cucumbery, it's light, it's crisp. It has a very small, like, kind of bready maltiness, very, very slight, because the cucumber definitely sings through for sure. So yeah, always enjoy this one. It's a good all-day beer, basically. Okay, so ours is definitely not as crisp. It's a little bit more on the malty-ish side, for sure. It's definitely still got a lot of cucumber in it, and they're both very good. This definitely tastes slightly more alcoholic than this one, for sure, but that is, you know, to be, you know, just expected. So.
What about Belgian character?
Belgian-y? Yeah, they're definitely, I feel like theirs tastes a little bit more like a Belgian yeast strain was potentially used over ours, maybe.
which is
Even though I know we used a Belgian strain.
we used your French strain.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did use a French strain. That's right. You're right. So maybe, I don't know. I'm not really sure what yeast strain they used. Either way, they're both great beers, so cheers!